Hey everyone, welcome to week 10. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Hopefully, it was filled with as many fall activities as are possible during a pandemic. Yeah, and hopefully, everyone's excited about this week because this week we're talking about monuments and the significance of monuments to complex societies. Um, I'll get into that a little bit more in a second, but for now, I'll go over what you guys have due directly this week. You guys are doing a pretty typical discussion type week. Um, we have the reading on monuments, and then we also have two videos. One of them is The Secret of Stonehenge, and I think the other one is like The Secret of the Pyramids or something like that. Um, and both of them are available through the OSU Media Archive, so you can just access it through that. Other than that, though, I think pretty much we just have a discussion. Although this week we're going to start talking about the poster project, which I'll talk about in this video for those who are interested. So it's split up into several parts, with the goal being at the very end, you presenting a poster. And the goal of the poster is going to be you taking an archaeological example of some sort of society that we haven't talked about yet, explaining what that society was like during the time period of the site that you want to look at, and explaining why we know that it was the way it was according to archaeological evidence. Maybe throwing in a few methods in there, what did archaeologists use to be able to figure these things out? And the instructions are on Carmen. So the nice thing about this assignment is that it's really, really easily, it's really well guided. Basically, you have certain parts due at certain times, and it's pretty obvious as far as like what needs to be done. Like for the first part, you're just going to start researching your civilization, and there's even a whole list actually on Carmen under the modules page of civilizations that you guys can choose, or specific cultures that you can look at archaeologically. It's okay if there's crossover. If multiple people want to do the same thing, that's totally fine. But the first thing's not due until mid-November. It's just a really small research subject, like really small research assignment. Pretty much, you're gonna look up a few articles based on the topic that you want and kind of go from there. But that's on Carmen for this week, so definitely check that out. The final project's not due until early December, sort of in that time period. But by that point, you guys should be well on your way to finishing the assignment, just because it's in steps. So once again, if anyone has questions about that, let me know. The directions are in detail on Carmen under the module for this week. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get into the reading a little bit. And this week's reading is interesting. I mean, I'm never going to say it's not interesting, right? Because this is all interesting. Archaeology is pretty cool. But this week we're talking about monuments. And why would specific society, well, why would any society bother spending time and manpower and, oftentimes years on building monuments for seemingly no reason. They don't get any functional value of these monuments, so why bother building them? And the answer is, of course, varied depending on the society you're looking at, but monuments all have a symbolic value to the people who built them. And not just the people who built them, but also the people from other societies who come and look at those monuments and get something out of it as well. I think that the reading talks about a few different examples of monuments throughout history. Of course, it talks about the pyramids of Giza, a pretty popular one, but it also talks about Stonehenge, and it also talks about monuments by nomadic peoples and why they might have used monuments as well to sort of decorate their landscape according to their history with other pastoral or nomadic peoples. A lot of times, people used to build monuments because of their connection to the stars. That's one of the hypotheses behind why Stonehenge might have been built. Although our trajectory in our solar system has changed enough, but since the time that Stonehenge was built, that we don't know for sure whether it was used as some sort of a astrological marker. But that's definitely one of the hypotheses for that specific monument. Um, as far as like looking at it from an archaeological standpoint goes, monuments are interesting because oftentimes they not only are they big and they're charismatic, but they're also some of the only things that are left standing from civilizations. If you look at the Mayans, we just talked about them kind of a lot last week. Their their cities are just dotted with monuments, with large pyramidal temples and obelisks and things like this, just sitting in the forest. They're some of the only things that we have remaining of those civilizations because they're often made out of stone. They're made to stay. They're not made out of wood, as well. I guess if they were made out of wood, we wouldn't know because the wood would have decayed. But monuments are often built to last long periods of time. So they're some of the best things that we as archaeologists can look at regarding past civilizations. But I'll let you guys do your own reading and make your own assessment of what monuments are and why they're important. And as always, I look forward to reading your discussions and commenting on them myself after next weekend. And I think that's pretty much it for now. I hope everyone has a good week, and I look forward to seeing what you say about monuments. Thank you.